Good morning, students. Welcome to ARK Reflections IAS newspaper analysis of the day. And just look into the important news articles from today's news. Okay, government issues notice to Meta on child sexual abuse ads because recently the government, there is some notice to the government that there are a lot of child sex abused apps. So child sexual abuse ads, like especially there is one keyword here. You can see CSEAM. What does it mean by the CSEAM? C S E A, child sexual exploitative and abuse material. Abuse material. So what does it mean? The child sexual exploitative and the abuse materials. So any text, videos, or any kind of images, or even the AI generated, even the AI generated things, any data, all comes under the child sexual exploitative and the abuse material. So this is increasingly, like, displaying in the, especially Instagram. So these it went to the government's notice and the government has issued orders. So, and what are the acts which allows the government to do this? So first thing, IT Act 2000 and IT Amendments Act 2021. So these are the some particular acts which helps the government and which powers the government to issue the notice or take any legal actions. Unsafe space. The notices comes amid the allegations that Meta's algorithm had been promoting the videos with child sexual abuse platform on its platforms. Child sexual abuse materials, like maybe in the Instagram or where you can see some kind of ads or some kind of apps. So apps which they show like the 2 minute story, these kind of things, where they are displaying the these kind of material, CSEAM. So this went to the government's notice and the government has issued the orders to the Meta. Okay. And next important news article. So here we can see the picture here clearly. The Iranians gathered to pray for the country's slain supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei during the second day of the funeral ceremonies and the Grand Musalla in Tehran. Grand Musalla is one of the most important mosque in the Tehran. That is the capital city of Iran. So as the remembrance, as like gather to show their solidarity to their slain, the dead supreme leader Ayatollah Khamenei, because the Israel and the US thought when they killed this leader, these, especially these two parties, US and the Israel, they thought that the people in the Iran, they support this move, they support the move of eliminating the top leadership of the Iran. But what happened to their imagination, to their utter shock? So it went completely reverse. So these people, the Iranian people, they are showing the huge solidarity to their leader, their dead leader, supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Okay, very important. So next, there are some good editorials today. Hormuz to home, and also the right to belong beyond official documentation. And India needs a second home for Asiatic life. This is very, very important, especially for the perspective of the environment. Like India needs a second home for Asiatic lines. Why India needs second home for Asiatic lions. So why India needs a second home for Asiatic lions? Because we know that the Gir National Park and the Gir region in the Gujarat is very much popular and very famous for these Asiatic lions. Asiatic lions. And when you take the IUCN status, the lions, these Asiatic lions are in the endangered category. and also WPA. Also, it's in endangered, like Schedule 1 class, like the old like Wildlife Protection Act of 1975. Again, it shows Schedule 1 status. Schedule 1. So why India needs a second home for the Asiatic line? Just imagine all these lines are concentrated in one particular place. That is nearly how many lines we have? Here we have around nearly 800 of so lines. 891. Yeah. So the total number at present, we have 891 lines. Especially they are located in the Gir region. The Gir region. The Gir region. So why the author is telling that we need 891 lines? Asiatic lines are there. So why author is recommending, why author is suggesting that we should choose a second home? Because as they are all concentrated at one area, as they are all concentrated one single area, any disease, any disease or any wildfires, wildfires or any floods or any other natural calamities or any other natural calamities. So what happens to this? If all are concentrated in one particular region, if these kind of things, any single disease, wildfire, floods, natural calamities, so will what they will do? They will completely, there is a chance to completely wipe out these lines, completely wipe out these Asiatic lines. So that's why the author is telling that India should consider a second home for these Asiatic lines to preserve this, to make sure the extinction will not happen. Why? The extinction will not happen, and also will protect the, and also will protect the genetic diversity. Genetic diversity will protect the genetic diversity. Okay, so this is one of the, it's a national animal, right? It's not an animal which is only belongs to one particular region. It belongs to whole, it is the proud of whole India. So that's why it is evident, like it is definitely we have to protect the our valuable natural animal, that which is Asiatic lions. So extinction will not happen if we, means if we make a new home and will genetic diversity under the project line, right? There is a project called Project Lion, where you have to protect or conserve these species. So in under the project line, we have to protect and conserve this Asiatic lion species. So it will help. It will help if we find a second home for the Asiatic lion. It will definitely help for the better conservation. It will definitely help for the better conservation, and it will reduce the risk of extinction. It will reduce the risk of extinction and will protect our genetic diversity, and will also able to protect our ecological and environmental balance, which is very, very, very important. So that's what the author is discussing here. Okay. Reports by the Wildlife Institute of India have consistently emphasized that the single population confined to one landscape is inherently vulnerable. So what they are doing, so this, if there is only single home, then definitely these Asiatic lions are completely vulnerable for the extinction if there is some any major outbreak like disease or the natural calamities. So very, very important. Okay. So and also there is also reports that some of the Asiatic lions, they want to introduce into the Puno National Park. Puno National Park, where the project cheetah, and there are a lot of cheetahs are right now which is living. The Asiatic lions, they want to send it to the Puno National Park. It is a 2003, the Supreme Court already said this one, to relocate some Asiatic lions. Asiatic lions is not just confined to the only Gir region. They should also be sent to the Puno National Park for their species protection and improving the risk against the extinction. So these are very, very important. Okay. So next important article is about the Hormuz to Homs, India's resilience in uncertain times. Now, at present, at present, Iran and US conflict looks cool down, right? Looks, the intensity was not there, so they are undergoing the talks. So looks like it was somewhat stabilized. Even the crude oil prices, crude oil prices is also comes down, almost near to the pre-war era. Almost near to the pre-war era. Pre-war era means how much? $70 per barrel. $70 per barrel. Okay. But here the author is discussing about one important topic, the Hormuz to Home, India's resilience in uncertain times. So how India overcome this issue? How India has able to succeed in limiting its impact on the Indian population. Okay, here the major role played by the government, the major role played by the government was its diplomatic efforts. Its diplomatic efforts. So what the government has done? The government has diversified. So immediately it find out the alternate suppliers for the crude oil, because India almost imports 90% of its crude oil resource. Crude oil and the gas, almost the 90% of its energy needs. So what India has done, India has done an excellent diplomatic efforts, and also it diversified the procurement. It diversified the procurement. Diversified its procurement. It's not until here. It's not just that. And also, as it has strategic reserves, and it able to act as a cushion. It able to act as a cushion to not increase the petrol prices too high. It didn't happen, right? They didn't increase the petrol prices too high, especially when it comes to the common public. Okay. So this is also, and more than this, RBI played very important role. RBI. So Reserve Bank of India, what they have done? What they have done, they make sure these forex reserves, they made sure that these forex reserves are in a stable conditions, are in stable position. And not just that, they also they also encouraged NRIs to invest more in India. Encouraged NRIs to invest more in India. What will be the results if the RBI is encouraging the NRIs to invest in India? Because we'll get the lot of remittances or the investments in the form of FDIs or the FPIs or something. And they also reduce the tax. They also reduce the tax for foreign investors, foreign institutional investors, like the foreigners who invest in India, the foreigners who invest in India and who are able to get some profit. In the imagination of getting some profit, the taxes which is levied by India on those profits was decreased by the RBI. So these are the certain measures. Even the RBI also played very important in tackling the situation, and the governments, they excellently manage the coordination between the various agencies, even the private and the public and all. But what are the lessons we should learn from this experience? What are the lessons India should learn? Lessons India should learn from this crisis, from Iran US crisis. So what are the lessons India should learn? First lesson they have to learn. First lesson they have to learn. So India should diversify. India should diversify its energy imports. Energy imports. It should not confine to just the Gulf region. it should also import from the other regions like the US, Venezuela, Russia, or whatever the places. Like it may very soon, even the Iranian oil markets also will open. So India should also buy from the Iran to maintain a very good diplomatic, because Iran, as we discussed, it's a huge potential for the exports of the Indian goods. Okay. And second, it should continue to improve its diplomatic channels. It's able to maintain. And third, it should improve its strategic petroleum reserves or the strategic fuel reserves, strategic gas reserves, strategic petroleum reserves. It should increase or improve, okay, to maintain a large capacity. Instead of the cumulatively 90 days, it should increase to almost to 120 days also. Even it should also add this LPG also for the strategic reserves. Next, okay, so diversify its energy imports, diplomatic channels. It should continue to engage in proper diplomacy. So when there is a time of need, a time of crisis, so these diplomatic channels will able to help. And the strategic petroleum reserves, it has to increase. And four, it should able to maintain a proper supply chain resilience. Supply chain resilience. So what does it mean by the supply chain resilience? Even during this time of the crisis, to transport this emergency or this basic commodities of the what the people need, so their supply chain should not be disturbed at whatever the case, whatever happening in the globe, so that should not impact the supply chain in India. So those kind of supply chain resilience India have to, definitely it has to achieve. Okay. And fifth, so India should move towards non-fossil fuel energies or the renewable energy resources like the green hydrogen, ethanol. So we already seen that ethanol blending is happening, and also uh, very soon the blending will also comes into the diesel isobutane. Also they are adding blending into the diesel, and also they are mixing something like dimethyl ether in the LPG, liquefied petroleum gas also. So similarly, they should move towards the renewable resources like the hydrogen. They have to improve the production, and the coal gasification, very important. Coal gasification also they are doing. So with that coal gasification, they are able to get the hydrogen also. So these all things, like we are able to survive this shock with minimal effects or with less impact. One of the main reason was the increasing demand, increasing demand from the domestic sector. So our domestic sector demand is too huge that we are able to sustain this conflict, and also the government spending is also more. So this is how we are able to survive and sustain this conflict. And next important article will discuss. So here you can see here, ISRO conducts its key components for the Gaganyaan mission, the Sol platform, suborbital launch vehicle experiments. So ISRO has done some important experiments called SOL. What is this SOL? Suborbital launch vehicle experiment. So what does it mean? So they tested it as part of the Gaganyaan mission. They tested this as part of the Gaganyaan mission. Okay. So what does it mean? So once they finish their space journey, once they finish their space journey or the space voyage, again they will enter into the Earth's atmosphere, right? Again they enter into the Earth's atmosphere. So again this some orbital. So this is the orbital. They used to stay. The astronauts will stay here. This orbital again it will comes into the from the space to Earth's atmosphere. So when they are coming from the space to Earth's atmosphere, they need a few some engine which able to adjust the angles and able to give the minimum propulsion to the this kind of so the where the astronauts were present, especially this man part, like the pod where the astronauts were present. So for this they need a small engine. They need a small engine. So which is called, this is solve. And in the future they are able to test this engine along with the satellites. Once after they are coming to the near to the Earth's atmosphere, what they do, so this orbital will launch certain satellites, sorry, parachutes. They launch, maybe you have seen in some other space launches where they will these kind of things. So especially when these pod, when entering into the Earth's atmosphere, to adjust its angle, there is one small engine is required. So that engine is solve engine, and that solve engine is tested by the ISRO as part of the Gaganyaan mission, the Indian Space Research Organization. The solid motor based platform will be used for parachutes test of the crew module. It has been derived from the PSLV strap-on motor. Very important. Okay, the Indian Space Research Organization has successfully carried out the first ground test of the solid motor based suborbital launch vehicle. Okay, done. Next. Next important news. Yeah, this is very important news. So Modi hails Shyam Prasad Mukherjee. Modi hails Shyam Prasad Mukherjee. Very important personality when it comes to the Indian history. Shyam Prasad Mukherjee. So who is he? He is very important personality during the time of our uh, country's formation, and he is our first industrial minister. First industrial minister in Nehru's government. In the Nehru's government, he's the first industrial minister. Okay, but he's very important personality because he strongly objected to the certain Nehruvian policies. Certain Nehruvian policies. He objected special constitution or flag or the special, prime minister for Kashmir. Like he has given one slogan, Ek Vidan, Ek Vidan, Ek Nishan, Ek Pradhan. So very important. In the prelims, you might get the question also. Ek Vidan, Ek Nishan, and Ek Pradhan was a slogan given by whom? Shyam Prasad Mukherjee. So why and what is the context of giving this slogan? Because he strongly objected to allow the separate constitution for the Jammu and Kashmir. Okay. And he told that Ek Vidan means there should be only one constitution, Ek Nishan means there should be only one flag, and Ek Pradhan means there should be only one prime minister or the one official, one main person. So this is why he had a clash with the Nehru, and also he resigned. He resigned from Nehru's cabinet. He resigned from the Nehru's cabinet, citing the Liaquat Nehru Pact. Liaquat Nehru Pact. What is this Liaquat Nehru Pact? So in the Liaquat Nehru Pact, they have agreed that we should protect, we should give safeguards for the each other's, like kind of minority people. So in Pakistan also there are minorities, that is Hindus and other Sikhs and others, and in India also there are some minorities, right? So both other they agreed that we like we will able to better protect and able to better manage and able to protect the minorities, which is not means which it didn't made the Shyam Prasad Mukherjee satisfied with this agreement. Why? Why? Because he was not happy with this agreement because okay, they have agreed to safeguard the minority rights, but they didn't able to make any mechanism or authority to safeguard the minorities. And he completely believed that if India follows this, but Pakistan definitely it will violate. Pakistan definitely it violate. Yes, it's violated, right? That is the reason why even the 1971, like Indo-Pakistan war or the Bangladesh war has happened, because he completely believed that these kind of a positive agreements only India will follow, not the Pakistan, not the Pakistan, and this is what happened. And he started his own party in the 1951 called Bharatiya Janasangh. Bharatiya Jana Sangh. Very important. He started his own party, Bharatiya Janasangh. So here, our Prime Minister Modi, what he said about him, a life devoted to India's unity and progress. And he is the leader who devoted his life for the for India's unity and progress. So very important personality, Shyam Prasad Mukherjee. At the time of when the Congress was omnipresent, Mr. Modi said Mukherjee founded the Bharatiya Janasangh in 1951 as an alternative voice to speak up for the India's progress while staying attached to our cultural roots. So during the time of the formation, after the formation, so Congress government is the most larger part, and there is no strong voice to object or to question the Congress policies. And during that time, the Shyam Prasad Mukherjee has started the Bharatiya Janasangh in 1951. Staunch critic, terming the first amendment to the constitution brought by Nehru was a direct assault on free speech. And the Prime Minister said Mukherjee was among its staunchest critics. And he understood fully what the Congress was capable of doing, and he was proven right. Those who brought the first amendment 75 years ago imposed the emergency in 1975, and 50 years ago brought in the 42nd Amendment Act, which again struck the core of the liberal democratic values. This is what the Modi has said. So this is I mean it is the birth anniversary, 2025th birth anniversary of the Shyam Prasad Mukherjee. Very, very important personality in our Indian history, especially in the post-independence times. Okay. He also worked as a youngest vice chancellor for the Calcutta University. Okay. Very important. So government releases the 25,000 crores for BBG Ramji MG scheme. So these are the important news articles of today, and we'll meet tomorrow with the tomorrow's news article. Thank you.